supposed to use the song that was just playing, so we could end up getting flagged by the Turner Music Company. So sorry about that if we have to chop that off at the top of stream one. This is a wholly new experience for me, and of course for a lot of you who are used to seeing us live on AdultSwim.com. In our previous show, Electronic Game Information, is not happening tonight. This is a new show called EGI 2, which takes place here on Twitch, a brand new platform with a ton of new buttons and windows and aspects that we're kind of figuring out here in real time. So thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and say in advance that things are probably going to go terribly wrong, and the fact that you are here and you're willing to give us subs and bits, is just an absolute. It's like a miracle, folks. I mean, it really is like coming home, and because you are here, and because I am here, we're here in this situation together. We have no choice, I think, but to try and build something brand new from the ground up. You see behind me, there's a lot of blank space. There's a lot of dirty space, and that dirty space is empty space, and empty space can become full space with the right kind of family, with the right kind of community. When people come together, they have so much power in their hands, and so much joy can be expressed through the building of spaces, and that is what I would like to dedicate this first stream 1 of EGI 2 tonight. And I walk over to the I am not going to be trying to sugarcoat it at all. The last 2 years have been extremely difficult. We have had a lot of ups and downs, mostly downs. We've had money that we expected disappear. We have had projects that were green light get shoved back into the trash bin and kicked off of a cliff by gray coats and tall buildings. And of course, we had this, our flagship video game talk show for AdultSwim.com. Not this, but that. And that went away, and they took it from us, and we'll never get it back. And let's be honest about it. We're never getting it back. But we can take some aspect of it, and we can do what I said before, which is to rebuild, and to, with your help, with your subs and bits. And I told myself again and again. I went back and I watched old episodes, and I said to myself, Robby, you say the word way too much. So if I say the word a lot tonight, I'm gonna have to start doing that. If I say it, then we. But just because, not because I want to hurt or harm, but because I just need some sort of negative feedback to make sure I don't go into that space, because I want to be clear, as crystal clear as I possibly can be, for as long as I possibly can be, because this here tonight, being a different show, also means that it is a longer show. Twitch is a platform that it rewards, I'm told, longer stretches of time where content is being produced in real time, live, and so that is what we must do. We have the capacity to build this for ourselves, but we also need to follow some bit of the rules. And the rules are that streams go long live. Streams go long, and that's something that people always used to say to me. They would come up to me on the street, they would see me on the bus, they would see me on the train, they would say, Robby, Electronic Game Information on AdultSwim.com. It's a great show. It's a fantastic show. The information is clear. The information is true, and it's pure. It comes from a pure place and a place of great heart. But the one thing that I wish that would happen is that you would have more space in between segments to just kind of let the show air out and kind of let you and your guests and your the people that work on the show kind of just take longer. It's been it's been tough years. It's been tough. But we're here tonight and we're going to make it work. I think that we have the capacity to make this happen. I think that we can discuss this truthfully with one another, that we can be honest to one another, and then we can also talk about things like 32X games that never got released. Things like weird controllers that time forgot, but still happen to go for $500, $600 on eBay. We're here now. And with your help, we are going to build this space, this raw, untested, calamitous space, into something that makes sense and something that we can all come back to and feel, where we can feel loved and where we can feel each other through the various fibers of cable that run underneath this great planet, underneath the ocean, and underneath the earth. I have a very special guest with me tonight. He's a fan of the show. He's a friend of the show. He's an employee of some kind. Not that we don't have any money, but maybe at some point there will be. The money's gone. The money went away, and but he came back. He came back to us. He is our close advisor. He is our reporter on the street, on the scene. Alan Resnick, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alan Resnick to
Robby.
EGI2. Hey, Alan,
hey,
how's
Robby.
it going?
How you doing? This is so cool.
Yeah, it's all right.
Thank you for having me. I've always wanted to be a guest on a podcast, and this seems like a really awesome podcast. So I don't know where people can see. I don't know how many people can see me, but if you can see me, I'm happy to be here. And when I got the call from you, Robby, I was excited because it has been a long time since I have seen you. So it is good to see my friend. I'm happy to be here. I'm doing great, and I'm curious to find out what EGI2 is.
Alan, thank you. Back to you, Alan. I'm glad to see that you're interested in what EGI2 is, because I think that's the point of Stream 1 of EGI2, is to kind of just figure out what it is and what we want it to be. My inclination, and I believe that this is a correct assessment, is that what people want is a show that is based on video game news that kind of isolates the 9-year period between 2002 and 2011.
And that is a time period that you're interested in. And this is on. And just to be clear, this is on. We're on Twitch.
We're
now.
at twitch.tv/EGI_2.
And that is.
And this is, of course, is not electronic game information on AdultSwim.com. When that part of Adult Swim shuttered and it left us out in the cold, they took away the cold. The funny thing is about cold is that people say cold is like a stabbing knife, right? You hear this a lot, but cold is more like a thief that comes in and takes your streaming shows away.
Absolutely, but it's so you started a podcast, a men's rights podcast about just lifestyle brand stuff.
No, this is going to what I believe, and I believe that we'll be hearing more about this later on the show as we start to get into some of the more interactive elements that Twitch offers. That people are going to really be excited about the idea that we're really just isolating that 9-year period between 2002 to 2011. And of course, that's the period between the sort of the end of the Sega hardware period. That was sort of like 2001 to 2000. 2001 was the last year of the Sega Dreamcast, and then 2002 was when you started to see first-party Sega games ending up on other platforms.
Robby, my understanding is that Twitch is less about gaming and more it's about chilling and hanging out with your friends and relaxing and just doing chit chat and vibing out with your friends.
Well, I'm not going to say it can't be that, because it can also be that. But I think that what people are here for, what EGI2 fans are here for, is that 9-year period where we're going to be it's what we're doing. It's kind of like a remastering of the show, of the old show, kind of like a remastering, if you want a war mastering, a revamping.
It sounds really wonderful, and honestly, just hearing you talk and hearing the kind of words that you say is inspiring to me. Just to be in the presence of the tenor of your voice is calming to me like a warm blanket. So I'm just happy to be around the tenor of your voice, if that makes any sense. And to be a guest on a podcast. But I think I'm curious about the what you're talking.
I'm talking about a kind of a remastering, Alan. I'm talking about taking what was old and kind of mastering it. Remastering.
I see. He's saying okay. So
if you of course fan of the show, employee of the unpaid employee of the show, Alan Resnick, you will remember that we did have a remastering of Red Faction Guerrilla that did come to not this current generation console, but the last generation consoles, which also included the Switch, which is confusing, kind of a bridge there. But I'm talking about PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch remastering.
You are confusing me. I don't remember remastering from EGI 1. I do remember EGI 1, but it's more of a warm light, sort of like when you close your eyes and there's that hazy light. That's more of. When we do EGI 2, the letters on EGI 2, I'm just trying to make sure I understand that the letters EGI don't stand for anything. But we do say the letters individually as it could be in an acronym, but it's not an acronym because if it was the acronym, then the letters, the meaning of the letters, the words that the letters are supposed to mean would be owned by AdultSwim.com. And then, but who pays? Who's paying? Who's footing the bill, and who's going to be paying me?
So nobody's paying you anything. I'm not. I'm losing money as we speak. We do have the capacity to gain small increments of money from people who are generous, and they see the work that we're trying to do, and they believe in the cause that we're trying to make.
I'm going to.
In fact, if you want to, if I keep wanting to bring it back to this, is that they are the people that are watching the show right now, the people that are subbing right now, the people that are giving the bits right now, the people that are following us, the people that are spreading the word about what the show is and how we're about. Those people are kind of like our Red Faction, and they're helping the remastering.
I don't know I can't understand a word of what this is.
Red Faction Guerrilla is a open world action adventure game that takes place on the planet Mars, involving a number of armies coming together. There's the corporate overload,
and you're
armies, and of course there's the armies of the Red Faction.
And how do you play it? Because I don't see any controllers anywhere around you, so I don't understand how
normally,
you play this game. I'm
very
confused.
In the show, we would probably see kind of a graphic here that would kind of show us a little bit about what the Red Faction looks like. It's kind of like you can kind of picture like if the camera was behind my back like so. And I had a number of very interesting looking guns, and I was firing the guns at large buildings, and the buildings were falling down like candlesticks.
See, I think I understand what you mean. I think I understand what you mean. I just want to say my piece, and then I'll let you finish.
Well, you can't have candles without matches.
Absolutely, and I do understand that you can't have candles without matches. I just want to say my piece before the show moves on, because this is a very confusing podcast. Normally in the podcast, the host asks the guest questions. You said I was an employee, and that did confuse me.
Correct.
But I will step aside and let you do the show, and if you are hiring me, I would be happy to spend more time with you.
Alan, I've got great news for you. You're hired.
Okay, this is great.
This is great. This is great news. We've got our first employee. This is the building block. This is the beginning of the remastering.
One more question: is this a call-in podcast?
This is a call-in.
That's what I thought.
It's not a podcast. This is if the people and if the Red Faction out there in the chat and on Twitch land, Twitch.tv
the Red Faction out there in the chat
/EGI_2 land believe in the remastering the way that I see it, then that will be a news show that specifically focuses on 2002 to 2011 in gaming news and culture and history.
One thing I do want to point out, just so you know this, and then I won't say any more about it, and I'll step aside, but the culture of AdultSwim.com was very, very different from the Twitch culture. The AdultSwim.com culture is more of a 20-something...
Alan, I feel like you're kind of... we're talking about the remastering.
No,
I feel like this is kind of like war mastering.
War mastering.
So that's a Darksiders reference. Darksiders, of course, the wonderful game from the people at THQ Nordic that brought us a Zelda-style game that looked like a Todd McFarlane, or late '90s Todd McFarlane, or early 2000s Greg Capullo.
It's a really weird interview.
Action adventure game starring none other than you, and you guessed it, the God War.
And you do this and it's going to be like this the whole time.
Well, eventually we could potentially, if we get the bits and we get the subs, we'll have some areas over here perhaps where there's sort of images that Alan, you're war mastering me. There would be there's a screen here that maybe the gameplay footage could come up on, and we are gonna take a quick pulse of our red faction to see if we are all on board, if we're all on the same page, if we enjoy more of what Alan's vision is, which is kind of like a glistening, kind of slimy underworld of sin people.
Just a lifestyle brand podcast.
Or if we prefer the more valiant and high-minded view of the...
I haven't seen Robby in about 3 years. He hasn't really asked me about myself or what I've been doing in this time. I am very happy to be here. I've changed a lot in the past 3 years, and I've been drinking a lot of water, and I've been doing well. So I'm happy to see my friend. I'm happy to be back in the EGI world, which I understand is different from EGI. EGI 2 is different from EGI 1. I don't really understand that.
It's funny that you say that, Alan, because one of the things that we were able to carry over
from
electronic game information from there to here is the ability to take phone calls and hear directly from the people, because the chat, I'm looking at this chat, Alan, and it looks insane, and I love to see it. I love to see the people. Star Song is posting pictures of our faces. Nathan Vegetable says that I talk too fast. Alan looks hydrated. Yes, he does. Thank you so much. Post Bunny data points. Now,
how do you see that chat?
Is data points like a kind of a is that like a remark?
Say the question again, because I truly didn't understand a word of it.
Is the words data point in the context and the culture of twitch.tv/EGI_2, is that data points? Is that a remark?
Is that a remark? I think that's a username.
Remarkering. Could you be? We've talked about war mastering. We've talked about remastering. There's also revamping. It was Blood Rain, of course.
And again, not a single question about
me. But nobody's talking about
my life in the time that I haven't been around you.
If we could get let's get the phone number up on the screen and see what people are saying out there. If people are enjoying what's happening, if people are enjoying seeing us together.
You just talk so
fast. I would love to have enough bits or subs to get a chair with a back on it.
And just to be clear,
because now I'm just using this little step ladder. And it's not the best thing for my back, so I might have to.
I just want to know what the project is. If you do get enough bits and subs, and I think it's called a hype train. If you get enough hype train subs, this will become a full-time job for me that I have. And how often will I be doing it? And for how long is this? Because I thought I was a guest one time on a podcast, and now I'm learning something.
I mean, Alan, the fact of the matter is that you are probably, if I were to pick 5 people off the face of the planet and say, one of these people is going to be an employee of EGI 2, it would be you. So, thank you so much. You're not just a guest, you're an employee. You're part of the family.
And it's a beautiful space that you've acquired, and I'm excited to hear about how that happened.
It's an ugly space. It's a nasty, stinking pit of a space. But the fact of the matter is that it's raw. It's ours, and we can do with it whatever we want. We don't have any corporate people, any gray coats in tall buildings telling us what to do and like throwing.
And you said you were going to take a call. You said you were
bats at us.
Yes, you said you were going to take a call as well.
Yes, so we're going to be taking a call any minute now. We should be hearing some calls come in and over the monitors. I suppose is what we have.
I'm going to log in here and see what I can see. Great. Is this part of the is this how
this is a part of this? Well, people were always saying on adulthood.com, I wish that there was a little bit more time for everybody to just kind of slow down, catch their breath, have some gaps in time in between segments and in between the discussion, because it wasn't just throwing facts at the wall at people. In fact, it was us having a discussion with the people.
And I remember we talked to people a lot in the old China. The studio was very warm, and it had a lot more lights and tech, and the new show is very, very different.
It's a little bit warm. It's a little bit, but it's also somehow a little bit cold. It's an odd mixture of things.
Caller, can you?
Caller, can you hear us?
Is there a caller? Can calls? Can call it? I'm just curious if calls can hear EGI 2, and if they know what EGI 2 is.
This is of course this is stream 1 of EGI 2, and I promised you that we would have a couple little hiccups here and there. So right now we're just waiting on our first caller because we do need to hear from the callers.
And I just want to clarify, because you do talk very fast to the audience. What I'm getting on, and I'm digesting this with the audience in real time. This is a new show.
This is a brand new show. It's called EGI _2, and of course one of the things that was told to me. One of the things that was told to me was that some people, it's not like
they're asking me to move
like
closer
the old
to the
shows that we
camera.
used to do, where people show up first thing in the show and stay for an hour. People come in and they go out.
This feels very different from the other Twitch streams I've seen. I think normally on a Twitch stream people will play Among Us with like politicians like Chuck Grassley and people like that. So this feels very different, and it feels different from EGI 1 as well. But I did want to clarify the audience. What I'm understanding is the audience is going to build the show with you, and
the audience is going to build the show with me. Their bits, their subs. That's going to give us the ability to add in new elements.
Can you hear? Can calls hear? Can you hear us, caller?
I can hear you, Alan.
Oh, okay, great.
We've got our first caller of the evening. Let's see fireworks or perhaps like gunshot, not guns themselves. We don't want to see any guns in the chat, but we might want to see the fire that comes out, that kind of gouts out of the top of the gun for our first caller of the evening.
Let's just say GIF fireworks would be playing right now.
EGI 2.
I'm on the air. Hey, what's up?
Who are we talking to this evening?
This is Cody.
Oh, hey Cody, it's wonderful to have you here. I'm so glad that you've joined us tonight. Are you enjoying the show? Are you enjoying what you're seeing? Do you understand?
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm so glad to see you guys back. It brings me so much joy.
Well, what we're having a discussion between Alan and me about the sort of direction of where we're going to take this thing. As this is again, this is kind of like the floor, and we have to start building up. I mean, we have to start building up the walls and then putting on several levels.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, shit.
So, exactly. So, what Alan is suggesting is that there might be a space for this to be a sort of a general kind of, I guess, what's the word that starts with the letter V?
There's so many.
One of those kinds of channels. And then I'm suggesting that this is, in fact, taking aspects of the original electronic game information on AdultSwim.com, taking it, pulling what we can from that kind of is it a morass?
I don't know I don't understand what you're doing.
And taking that and remastering it into something new, but something that also specifically focuses on game news, culture, information, and aesthetics of the period of video gaming between 2002 and 2011.
Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
I love it. That's my most prominent era of gaming, and that's of course what I'd be most interested in.
What I would like to see is perhaps we can. I don't know if we have mods in the. Do we have mods in the chat?
I'm gonna look up how that works.
So if we have mods in the chat, I'd love to see if we could get a poll up that has on one of the bars of the poll says remastering, and then the other one I guess says something that starts with the letter V.
What are you talking about?
So caller Cody, so glad that you were joining us here tonight. What is it about that 9-year period that really stands out to you? I mean, when you sound like you got a young voice, you got a wild soul. Tell us about that period in gaming for you here live on EGI_2.Twitch TV.
I don't know. On second thought, I think I just played a lot of World of Warcraft. And now I regret it. So maybe that, I don't know, maybe that period wasn't that great.
Well, thank you for your call. We'll be getting back to you about all of that information. I do. If I could have one good piece of advice for you, and you can judge it if it's good or bad. But the piece of advice that I have either way is that you take a little bit of time to go on something like GameFAQs or Wikipedia, if there's a Wikipedia specifically for video games.
I'm sure there is.
And just type in 2009 releases, and then just kind of step yourself through there. And maybe World of Warcraft is great stuff, but of course World of Warcraft also ushered in a type of gaming that we don't really cover here on EGI2. We didn't really cover before on electronic game information.
2009.
Oh, that's good. I don't want you to. Those are bad times.
Zone of
I'm
the
glad
Enders? Is that
to
what
see a new
year
direction.
did Zone of the Enders come out?
I'll
The
look.
first Zone of the
Hold
Enders.
on.
I know Zone
What
of the
year
Enders
did
2 was probably
what?
about 2002,
Hold on, I'm doing this
3.
voice to chat.
Perhaps it was a 4.
What year did Zone of the Enders come out?
What year did the Zone of the I'll try it. What year did the Zone of the Enders come out?
What year did Zone of the Enders come
What
out?
year
It
did
got
Zone
it.
of the Enders come out?
2001. The original
2000,
Zone of the
but we
Enders
know-
was released
so
on
what's
PlayStation 2 in
2001?
March
So that doesn't go
2001. The
necessarily
sequel,
in that
Zone of
thing,
the
but the
Enders,
category
second
of the
runner was released in the same system in 2003, so that's different from what you said. In
That's
2012,
the second runner.
the second one,
second
re-released in high definition. Doesn't say anything about remastered or any weird word. In PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 as Zone of the Enders HD Collection.
So it was sort of a rendering.
It doesn't say anything like that, but I'll go on the Wikipedia.
Cody, thank you so much for your call. You've done so. You've already lifted our spirits. You've given us a lot to chew on. We got to drop your call and take another caller if we can.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Come back anytime. You're always welcome.
And callers, anyone who's going to call into the show, please give notes because Robby doesn't listen to what I can't get a word in edgewise here. So give notes on the show. Is this a call?
Yes, it is.
And who is this caller and what is your name? And now I'm doing the show. I was the guest.
Well,
you the host
you're the
now?
first employee.
So I can talk to the call.
My name's Takako.
Say your name again.
Takako?
Okay. Hello.
Hello. How are you? And how are you this evening? And have you?
I'm doing great. I've been very excited waiting for this. I was a big fan of the first series. Very excited to see you
and me
guys
as
back. I'm
well.
sorry.
It's not the first series.
She's talking about EGI 1.
I know. Well,
They're
it's not
talking
EGI
about-
one. It's Electronic Game Information is a separate series. It's like saying I was a fan of
Band-Aids
Exactly,
when you meant
exactly. Band-Aids. I was
adhesive
thinking
medical
Band-Aids.
strips.
So, friend of the show, fan of the show. You've watched us in the past, and you're watching us now. How are we doing?
I'm trying to hear it.
I think you're doing great. I'm a big fan
That's a compliment.
of the beautiful room that you have behind you. I was hoping that you guys would talk a little more about video games. I'm very happy that even though the letters don't stand for anything,
Well, is
you're
there?
sort of going in that direction.
I want to take that what you just said and kind of expand on it if I can. We do have that time here because we do run long on Twitch. So what's on your mind in terms of video games these days?
Well, I've been streaming Dark Souls for the first time, the remastered, not the original, and I just got to Blighttown, and I'm having a lot of trouble with it. So I was actually hoping maybe you could give me some advice.
Well, the thing about the Dark Souls games is everybody's going to probably give you, everybody who's played through them is probably going to give you the exact same advice. Just keep rolling, work on your timing, work on your muscle memory. Make sure you're not down in those potions too graciously at the beginning. Graciously? Gratuitous?
Graciously.
Don't take too many of your potions at the beginning of the fight. Hold on to them for as long as you possibly can until the life bar is nearly drained. You don't want to be you don't want to find yourself against some sort of stumbling behemoth with no potions, and you know that each one of you has at least one hit left, or less than one hit left. You know, it's funny that they would take something like the Dark Souls series and just call it a simple remastering. I would think of it was kind of like a solaring. Alan?
This is actually my first time playing a From Trophy. I'm wondering if you could explain to me a little more, like what they had changed when
What
it's
they've
remastered.
changed
I don't know what
since
that means.
Well, I think that the frame rate kind of goes all over the place in between sort of entries.
Okay.
So I would say the biggest thing that I think has changed is the ranged weapons.
Oh, yeah.
I would say so. I mean, Bloodborne, the Sekiro. I've only played a couple of hours of Elden Ring, but it seemed like that had a little bit more magic throwing and magic, missiling, remissiling.
You streamed Elden Ring, right?
Yeah, well, I streamed a little bit of Elden Ring. Haven't gotten back to it because the fact of the matter is that backlog of mine, that backlog that I've had since 2002 to 2011, that somehow keeps looking about the same height. So I've got I've got to have
how it always
one
is.
of the. Well, let me ask you this question. One of the things that I've thought about doing and I thought using this channel for is an occasional game stream where I go through the backlog of that era and just nothing quite as involved as what you see here. Something a little bit from the hip, a little bit more honest and upfront about what I'm doing.
Longer stream.
A longer stream. You see a longer stream, Alan.
It's your show. If people want a longer stream, they want you to talk about video games, I think you should. I just haven't been playing games, so I just don't know how much I can add to the conversation. I started drinking wine since EGI went off the air and hanging out with my friends in bars. So I don't know much about Elden. I remember we played Elden Ring once at the beginning of the pandemic. It seemed fun. I don't know much about these kind of games, but it's your show. If people want you to go along and talk like this, I just want to support you and be a good friend. So let's.
So people are, the thing about going along is, Alan, as our only full-time employee here at EGI2, you'll have to be there for most of those times. Maybe not necessarily the game stream thing, although I would love to get your thoughts, especially if I were to go back and play something like, I don't know, just off the top of my head, Stalker Clear Sky.
Stalker Clear Sky.
Yeah, the second Stalker game.
I don't know
so
about
Stalker
the games Robby
Clear
talks
Sky
about.
is, of course, the second game in the Stalker series. And when I say Stalker, I'm saying the words in an acronym. The word is actually an acronym. STALKER.
And
those letters do mean something, but I haven't had the time to look into it for you. Thank you so much for your call. We'll be looking in at the. I want to say that I promise. What year did Dark Souls 2 come
I'll look
out?
it up.
Thank you. So if Dark Souls 2 is in that
There's
9-year
Google.
period between 2002, I don't think it is.
Dark Souls. What year did Dark Souls 2 come out?
Dark Souls 2 come out. It's probably 2014.
2014, March 11th. They all
Okay,
come out in
well,
March.
I knew that off the top of my head, which is either extremely impressive or deeply troubling. So thank you for your call. We have to keep moving along with the rest of the
Not
show.
at all.
We do have
Thank
some
you for having me.
news
I
to
just
get
wanted to say, Alan, there's a game out there for everyone. You just have to keep looking. I'm sure you'll find one that fits you. Robby,
I have games on my phone that I play.
Games tend to cost money. So I think if you want them to be a helpful, contributor to the show, you might have to pay him a little.
You're saying that I have to. You're saying that I should.
I didn't say
pay
have.
Alan
You don't have to. I'm just
I
saying,
pay-
if you want him to get more into the
I
game.
would love that.
I have a lot of Steam keys I don't use.
Okay, that's fine too.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your call. We'll be taking calls in a moment here, but we do have to move on. We do have a lot. We do have a great deal left to cover.
How long is the show? Because I was meeting friends at a bar and I was meeting Cheryl.
Our last couple of callers really scratched made a scratch, not an itch.
They scratched an
It scratched
itch.
me, and now it does itch.
Got it.
But I'm not going to. And so what I've been thinking a lot about, Alan, in these
I can't keep
intervening
up with
years
these
since we
chats.
had electronic game information on adultswim.com is the fact that as time goes on, it seems like the games industry is decentralizing more and more. And the power to remaster the games industry as a whole is coming back to the people that play the games, that the people that are very passionate about it.
Right.
So one of the things that has really I've noticed a lot is of course, and I think you'll really enjoy this, is that they've been starting to port old games to old systems.
Right.
So this is breaking news. You heard it here first. We're actually stealing this news from TimeExtension.com. But this is in fact breaking news on EGI_2 Twitch, and that is that they are in fact releasing a brand new version of Mortal Kombat for the Atari Jaguar. A brand new port. That's not an emulation. That's going to be Mortal Kombat 1, the first Mortal Kombat running on an Atari Jaguar. No one else is talking about this except for the good folks over at TimeExtension.com. And the fact is that this, to me, is symbolic of where things are going.
In what way?
Well, because rather than taking an old game and maybe packaging it in an emulator or putting it in a collection, we were in fact taking the old source code and then remastering it and then putting it on a system that was in the past that it never came out on.
They're putting an old game out on an old console.
So I'll give you another example to kind of get the beans spilling, which is that they're also adding a brand new port of Mortal Kombat 2 to the Philips or the 3DO.
They're putting out a brand.
So they're putting and I think we do have a slide of this. They are making a version of Mortal Kombat 2 on the 3DO. So we're seeing the slide the slide went away. There is a second slide for the Mortal Kombat 2 that's on the 3DO, and that also might just be a trailer.
Just
going
gonna
to
check. Just gonna check something.
If we can get that up there we go. That's
how many Mortal Kombat games have there been?
This is Mortal Kombat 2 running natively on 3DO hardware. So just take a look at what
26.
you're seeing, Al. This is the actual. These are the splash. If you saw and you went into an arcade in say 1992, 1993, you would see these images popping at you from a cutting edge, hard
Let me just look up
arcade
the new
cabinet
Mortal
display.
Kombat.
And here it is running on a home console that came out, and I want to say 1992, and it looks I want to say it looks nearly exactly the same that it did, except perhaps there's a little bit more of a blurry image.
I'm just gonna look up some screenshots of the new Mortal Kombat.
So there's a new Mortal Kombat. The fact of the matter is that a lot of people are playing a new Mortal Kombat. A lot of people are talking about the new Mortal Kombat.
Right.
We will stay tuned. We're going to keep looking back at the release of Mortal Kombat 2 on the 3DO as time
Just
goes
gonna
on.
see. Okay. So I just. Okay. So some of the graphics on these newer Mortal Kombat games, they do look quite stunning. If you'll see that in the camera, with volumetric lighting and fog and things like that. So I know you are talking about the same franchise of game.
But of course we're talking about a game that came this.
Do you
this
play?
is 2023.
This is a 2023 game.
Yeah, so I'm
Mortal
talking about games that
Kombat.
came out in
It's
1991.
Got it.
But they are ported. They're being ported to the Atari Jaguar, which is, of course, as we all love to correct, is not in fact a fully functional 64-bit
And we have
system.
over 400 concurrent viewers want to hear about this.
Great. So 400 concurrent viewers.
420
What was the limit that we were supposed to be at?
I think you said you wanted to get 100. And when? At what point will you have enough bits and bytes to pay me? Is this what kind of subscriber base are you looking to gain from this?
That's a great question, Alan. Back
And
to you,
bits and
Alan.
back to you, Robbie. Thank
Subscriber
you.
base is that I'm looking for people that are excited about these. We have something new, and this I think you liked the Mortal Kombat stuff. That got your beans in the pot.
That got my beans in the pot.
You got Alan's beans in the pot, and the fact of the matter is that not only are people making old games taking old games that already existed and making them for old systems, but also making new games for old systems. I have an exciting. This is breaking news. This is only here at first. Breaking news graphic. There it goes. And we are live on EGI2.com talking about a brand new game for the Mega Drive Sega Genesis system. It's a game that came straight out of a really passionate kid and I want to say somewhere in Brazil that probably doesn't have as many arcades as they used to, because to be completely honest, no place has arcades as like they used to.
Of course not. Of course not.
This is a brand new Sega Genesis game. It's a trailer for a brand new Sega Genesis game, and that's the Sega logo, so you know it's real. And I don't make this stuff up. I did make some of the graphics for the show, but this is a real game running natively on Sega Genesis Mega Drive hard. I say Mega Drive more than I do Sega Genesis these days.
And this is something you made, you say?
I didn't make it. So a kid in Brazil made it. This, of course, is called Lunatic Fighters. This is a brand new fighting game called Lunatic Fighters. This is a crazy game. It's about lunatics fighting each other in an arena. You can see that the graphics are absolutely pixel accurate to the period.
This is a previs graphic for a movie?
Like 1990. So this is like Eternal Champions Experts era, not Eternal Champions for fighting game, the action adventure Eternal Champions game that came out later that was all pre-rendered.
I desperately want to go on this ride with you and understand what you're talking about.
Well, this is Lunatic Fighters running natively on Sega Genesis, and this is the kind of thing that we'll take it every once in a while. If we do the full remastering, we will be taking the time to also talk about these little aspects of gaming culture. You can't just focus on the 9-year period, because if you limit yourself to that, you're going to be limiting yourself to a lot of like gray and brown first-person and third-person shooters with cover.
If anyone
systems.
is in the chat who can hear me, was this I have a very foggy memory from before the past couple years. Was the old EGI like this? Just shout that out in the chat, because I'm just trying to make sense of it.
And while the chat's going, I think we've reached our first break of the evening. And this is,
some people are they're saying yes, some people are saying no. More yes. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong.
We kind of we'll take
Yes,
a quick
yes.
break and we'll be right back in a couple of minutes. And I want to talk a little bit about these break videos. We don't have the money or the time to make the poems that we used to, but maybe someday we will have the bits to make the poem. If we get the bits, and it feels cynical to say it, doesn't it? To say that poetry is somehow limited to some sort of ethereal currency.
I guess.
So if we have enough bits, then we'll. Who knows? But this is a special night. And we're talking because I'm so focused. I'm laser focused on that period, that 9-year period. Except for all the times we'll talk about different periods. That we will be. I want to take a couple minutes to look back at a classic of that period. The 2005 first-person shooter Pariah, which has not been seen since on any other console besides Xbox or PC from at that time. Alan,
Back to you, Robbie. Let's do it.
back to you, Alan. And we're back. So thank you so much for taking that time to watch that nearly two uninterrupted minutes of Pariah footage. And you can tell that I was excited, Alan, to show off that almost two uninterrupted minutes. It was interrupted by the graphics. Did you notice the graphics at the beginning and the end?
Yeah, they were wild. Okay.
So if you I was so excited about Pariah that I misspelled uninterrupted.
I did not notice that.
So, Alan, I understand that you had something you wanted to talk about in terms of how we're going to be sort of hopefully building some sort of a financial foundation for EGI 2 going forward.
Absolutely. Well, when you texted me that you were going to do something called EGI 2, I was very confused. But you said you needed help and you wanted to get people excited and to raise money. So I thought a good way to raise money, if you get in, we could. I have been making art objects, erotic art objects of powerful symbolic value, and I was going to I donate one of those to the show. They are very expensive art objects. I sell them myself on my website, and I thought if you get enough subscribers or bits or bytes, I don't know.
What's the name of the art object?
It's just I make different sort of. They're not ceramic. They're more like stone sexual candle holders.
Alan,
you see, there's just two people, and they do hold candles in the heads. Are you okay? Because you did do COVID test.
It would be great if a friend of the show, of course, Alan Resnick.
So how many views? I don't know.
We'll give
this
take
away.
a quick second. The sexual candle holders. That word, I do have an issue with the nature of these things, and maybe if we could talk about them, maybe if there's a way that we could both be comfortable talking about them, which is of course that maybe they're not the sexual candle holders.
Well, I have a
they're more
non-sexual.
of two people. It looks like one person could be in pain and the other person is helping them.
Well, I mean, whatever you want to call it. This is a non-sexual one that I make. Just hold, but it's not as good. It holds one candle. But I think if you're trying to raise,
that looks worse to me.
No. Well, you can get. Well, I sell these on my website. There, you can buy sexual or non-sexual. And I was thinking I'll donate these to the show, and if you get, I don't know, 60 subscribers, one of them you could give away the non-sexual, and then if you get to like a stretch goal of 100 subscribers, they would get this sexual one. And you can see both the people are screaming. The sexual one is more valuable because it holds 2 candles. But maybe someone gets lucky, they get all 3, and this one's watching. I like to think this one's watching, and that's why they're clasping their mouth in sort of shock. But on their own, it's completely non-sexual. If that's, maybe you could keep that one. I need money too, so go to my website. You can buy these, and maybe you notice I do wear my watch in a different way than the last time I saw you. I wear it on the other side of my wrist, and that has changed a lot of things for me in my life. Back to you, Robby.
Back to you, Alan, and thank you for that. And
but wait, hold on.
If we just take.
What's the goal? Because we do want to give these away.
The sexual stuff, but in fact, when people are in pain, they help each other out. So that's one way that will start to make this into sort of
To be clear for the audience, at what point how many subscribers do you want to give away the non-sexual,
Alan,
and how many subscribers to give away the sexual? And I'll mail it.
You kind of put me in a spot here because if I could really, I would say that those things could get kicked out of the room and never come back.
Well, we'll give them to one of the subscribers. But we are I'm trying to help you out here because this is a mess.
I understand because I know that those take time to make.
They do take time, and that's what they are. Art objects. I make them myself of significant value. We can call them, for your sake, the pained people wrestling.
Well, I have an
and
idea.
the praying man.
Can we etch like some of my unused Steam codes onto the bottom of that thing?
Yeah, you could etch So the winner of this will get a Steam code at the bottom of this, a Robby Steam code.
So let's say once 100 subscribers.
I don't know Twitch.
125 subscribers.
I don't know what's reasonable. I don't know how many subscribers do you have now.
I have no idea.
Is there any way to look that up?
I opened up Twitch this morning. I looked at it.
I'll try to find out.
And I walked out of the room.
All right.
Great. Thanks, Alan. Of course,
Back to you,
what I was
Robby.
more thinking about what I thought you were going to say is that one of the things that I've noticed that people seem to be doing on these types of platforms is a lot of sponsorships.
Why did you
I thought
think
we would maybe test run a couple of sponsorships here in case the people that at someplace wanted to maybe sponsor a show if they are someone who makes like these kind of like junky retro gaming handhelds. And
Robby, I'm learning you have to you have to sign into your account to see how many subscribers you have.
Where did I go?
You're still here.
I'm still here.
We're in this room.
So one of the other things we don't have we don't
What are you
know.
talking
we
about?
can only assume that something like Halo 2 will be released once again in the next couple of years. So if I thought that if we imagine this, you would say the friend of the show, Halo 2 is being re-released in physical form, and we've got 50 of these to give away. We only have the one.
This is a collector's item.
It's a collector's item if you count the fact that it still has it still has a 2-month trial for the first for Xbox Live. And a free Halo 2 Slurpee.
Xbox Live, is that Game Pass?
No, Xbox Live was before Game Pass. Xbox Live used to just be a place where people with headsets could hang out on their Xboxes. We have a couple other ideas here. This is something that I was thinking it'd be fun to have, which is this is a sponsor of the show. Could be a sponsor of the show. The magazine Retro Gamer, the UK-based magazine that has this is an insert from Retro Gamer that I found on the Amtrak recently that has a bunch of small pictures of old rare games in the rare replay collection, and some rare games that are not in the rare replay collection.
Robby, hypothetically, someone who's watching this online up at night watching this, they want the thing you showed.
Right. No. These are not prizes.
They're not prizes. Okay.
These are sponsors.
Okay.
So if somebody who made like old rubber cases for Wii Motion Plus remotes could sponsor the show.
These are sponsors?
These are not sponsors of the show, but I'm saying these could be sponsors.
Got it.
I could say sponsor of the show, friend of the show,
I think I understand.
I don't think I can read the letters on here. But the sponsor of the show, these are great rubberized grips for people who love to whip the Wii remote, but don't want to have to use this pesky old thing. It gives you the grip, gives you the security, so that you know when you're playing Skyward Sword with all of the or Red Steel 2 with all of the and you know they don't make these anymore probably, but they probably make them for other controllers.
If anyone in the, I just want to clarify because I was quite confused by all of those words.
Right.
If anyone in the chat is also confused, what he's saying, I believe, is he would like someone who makes rubber grips for remotes to sponsor the show.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yes. As opposed to having to rely on selling candle holders of two people that are one person who is in pain and another person helping them.
And right. I think, well, that's an art object. I think people value art in a different way than they value a rubber Wiimote holders and old cases.
You try to whip this thing across the room and it barely leaves your hand. I mean, it wants to stay there.
Back to you, Robby.
Back to you, Alan. Let's go ahead and take some calls and see how people are feeling about the show and what we're doing. We've sort of left the conversation. We've left the conversation about what the show is because I think we've
got a grip on it
to narrow the field a little bit, and we're mostly talking about sponsorships. And I think in Pariah.
Hey.
Caller, you're on the air with EGI 2. How are you this evening?
I'm so good. I missed seeing you guys on my screen so much.
Oh,
thank you so much.
What an incredible feeling it is
kind
to
thing
be
to say.
hearing a voice out of these speakers in this room. It really does feel like the room is alive for the first time. I mean, it felt a little. The air changed when I walked in, and then the air changed again when Alan walked in. But it stayed mostly very still and warm.
Quite still.
And now there's a nice
and he's
cool
been coughing
breeze,
a
and
lot.
That's the voice of a caller.
Yeah, it's good to see this brand new thing that hasn't happened before. That is a new thing that hasn't happened. That's happening again.
It's not. It's an entirely new show. If anyone at Adult Swim finds out that we use the music at the top of the show, we could get into some trouble. So we'll be revisiting that with our legal team, which we don't have, unless we start to sell things like, unless we could get sponsorship for these kind of cheap retro gaming handhelds.
Yeah, get some of those Wii remote rubber case sponsors.
So I want.
You know what I would buy is if those sexual candle holders, you had that as a Wii remote.
That's a cool idea.
Okay, that's all.
Wait, I like that. Wait, that's cool.
Okay, but let's focus if we can, because I think that the people have spoken. The Red Faction has spoken, and that what they want is a remaster, and we want to talk about those 2002 to 2011 that period in gaming. Correct?
Yeah, I'd love to see you guys play some games together for sure as well. I want you to talk about them too, but I'd love to see some playthroughs from you guys.
What game do you imagine that we play together?
Oh man, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the early Sonic games, so
the early
definitely
Sonic
some
games.
of those.
Of course, they just came out with a new Sonic game that looks quite good. It looks all right, but I'm a big fan of Sonic Generations, which of course did not come out in that crucial period that we've been trying to kind of keep focused on. But I would love if Alan, does Sonic Generations have a two-player mode?
I will.
Maybe
look.
if you put down the candles and kind of left them on the ground, that would be easier for you to answer that question.
I can
this
do
is
both.
a special
I
correspondent.
think the candles make it easier to focus for me.
Thank
if
you.
They're in
Well,
frame.
Thank
Thank you.
Makes
That's
it a
so
little bit harder to
sweet.
focus me.
Thank you. That is so sweet.
I want to say that.
What was the question about Sonic?
Sonic Generations, does it have a two-player split-screen mode?
I don't want to drop this. This is an iPad
Not
Pro.
the new Sonic. We know that does.
Does Sonic Generations have a two-player split-screen mode? It's going to answer it now. The answer, I'm sorry, but there is no multiplayer in this game.
There's no multiplayer in Sonic Generations, so let's assume that we'll be coming back to that.
Does anyone have a lighter?
I would like to just
or matches or any?
If this, it's not. No.
I'll just find one.
So caller,
I have a quick question. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this or not. Are y'all allowed to talk about the video game you made up anymore, or is that?
We're working that out as we go along. This evening is going to be more structured towards kind of discovering what the show is and how everyone feels about it.
Okay, cool.
But what's the game that you've been playing the most, Colin? I missed your name, and I'm sorry. Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm calling from California. My name's Luke. I've called a lot into the show before. I've met
right.
you guys in person
Friend
a couple
of the
times.
show.
Glad to have you
It's
back,
also an
Luke from
event.
California.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my username is BabyBABC. I don't know if you've
so
seen
good.
me. You took me and Alan to go get facial reconstructive surgery to look more like the dance freak.
What?
So yeah, you don't remember that? That's okay. But yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what the question was.
The question was if you've been playing anything. Oh, if you've been playing anything lately, and if you like what you've been playing, or if you know. I have this thing that happens where I'll start playing like something like Super Mario Wonder, which is obviously objectively a fabulous game. But I start playing it, I'm having a good time, and I just kind of I shut the game down and I open up something like an old Assassin's Creed game on my Switch Lite.
I'm just gonna do a quick demo here.
Yeah, I do I've been sort of stuck in this loop of like not finishing Zelda games. So like I just went back to Majora's Mask, but like I feel like I've been stuck in this infinite loop of like playing a Zelda game halfway through, and then I like put it down for a minute and I play another one and I forget what's happening in the old one and I like start over.
Are you playing
Majora's
Mask on
Mask,
original hardware? Are you playing with the time limit, or are you playing the 3DS version, or some
I'm
later
playing
version that has
the
time limit?
3DS version. I haven't been able to get my hands on the actual N64 version for that one.
Well, do you have if you get a Switch Online membership, I believe that you get access to the N60. It's a ROM. I don't know if it works the same way. Maybe somebody in the chat knows.
Like they have Majora's Mask for Switch now, or?
In time for the show?
No, I was saying they have Majora's Mask on the Switch now.
They have so if you have a Nintendo Switch and you have a Nintendo Switch Online membership, you get access to classic game. What I think they call them channels, Alan. They're kind of like channels, but they're just collections. These well organized, well curated collections of older N64, Genesis, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. And that's just part of it.
Okay, I gotta check out some more of the collections.
Classic, amazing games, historic, groundbreaking games that you have access to right there on your Nintendo Switch for just $50 a year if you get the expansion, because it costs $30 regular, and then you get a $20 expansion pass.
And how much is something like a Netflix or a Disney Plus?
Caller?
Netflix or Disney Plus, I don't know, 15 a month. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you said it's how much,
like that,
50 a year for the collections, or?
So how much time do you spend watching Disney Plus?
Disney Plus, yeah, HBO,
Netflix?
Yeah, honestly,
Netflix.
I could probably swap out some of my streaming subscriptions for something like that, because I'm paying for so many things and I don't even watch with anything on there.
And you laugh, but it's true.
Yeah.
So
I don't want. Yeah, no, I have a Netflix subscription. I can't remember the last time I watched something on there.
Let me ask you a question, caller. So if you were to say you were to have some sort of like a piece of paper or a ledger that had all of the hours that you spent watching Netflix or Disney Plus or et al.
What?
If you had a ledger that said I spent this much money a month on these streaming platforms, and this is how much money, this is how many hours I spent watching them, would that work for you?
I mean, I'm probably not spending a whole lot because I'm kind of I'm mooching off of other people and stealing passwords, but I definitely am not like the ratio of how much I'm paying for the ones I am paying for definitely doesn't match up with like how much I'm watching.
The reason that I'm bringing this up, Luke from California, is that I have perfected. I have not perfected because it's a work in progress, and I've just reorganized it a bit. But I do have a ledger of my own. It's called the spreadsheet. It's a spreadsheet that I've kept for many years now, and where I record every single game I buy, how much I pay for it, and then how many hours I spend.
I remember the
playing.
spreadsheet.
So,
I was literally telling my friend about this the other day, actually.
And the ultimate goal for those of you who aren't as familiar as Luke from California is that eventually every game that I own, I will have spent $1 per hour of gameplay on.
I remember you talking about this years ago, You spend $1 per hour
No.
of gameplay.
Well, the ideal landing landing pad for this is kind of an ongoing project, is that we have $1 per hour of gameplay. It's called the spreadsheet. Let's cue the spreadsheet intro. This is the full spreadsheet intro. I made this intro. Sorry, we lost the caller there. My apologies. We were trying to keep Luke from California on for the spreadsheet, but unfortunately, there's a lot of buttons, folks, and we have, of course, a brand new show. But we do have the spreadsheet up. This is breaking news. No one else is talking about this live on EGI 2_2. This is the spreadsheet. So this is a quick update to the spreadsheet here. Which is what we're looking at is, of course, this is a brand new tab in the spreadsheet, which is a spreadsheet tab, which is both my Xbox
It's hard to see it, though.
and my PC game purchases and play times organized into one new tab.
It is so
Because it used to be
hard to see
two
the
tabs,
spreadsheet.
Alan, but then you know what happened?
I see.
Yeah, so what happened was I started to realize that I was playing a lot more Xbox Game Pass games on PC. So I said, why not cut out the extra time that I spend shifting through tabs when I'm recording all this stuff,
Right.
and put them into one tab.
I think, yeah. And what did you come
So
up with?
I'm seeing a lot of comments here that the spreadsheet text is a little small. So
people
we'll have
read
to
that?
we'll have to maybe work on that a little bit
Maybe
more.
episode 2 you get a bigger
Episode-
font
yeah.
on the spreadsheet. It's hard to read.
So, Alan, back to you.
Back to you, Robby.
How are you feeling about the spreadsheet?
I appreciate that you're so committed to saving money and doing your hobby in
Well, the
such a
problem
way
is
that
that I
efficient
didn't
for
save
you.
money in the past, and now I'm a bit older, I'm a bit wiser. I
And
realize
just to
the
be
importance
clear-
of thrift and economy.
And just to be clear, how old are you?
So I have been playing games
how old
since
are-
my
I just
parents
wanna-
got divorced when I was 12 years old, Alan.
Okay,
So
and now
I-
so you're 12 at the divorce.
Right.
How many? And then
So,
it's been.
but the fact of the matter is that I would go through these periods of times when I'd get very anxious and I'd have a little bit of money and I would see a Steam sale and I'd just buy a bunch of games. Then Humble Bundle came along, and I started to buy lots of Humble Bundles and build up my game library. So now it's this massive thing.
The reason
I completely lost track of how much money I was spending on it. So I started the spreadsheet so I could keep track of the money that I was spending on it, while I'm also keeping track of the time that I'm playing those games that I purchased in that emotional state, so that I can kind of go back and kind of remaster those feelings and enjoy the games as they
And
exist
how
in my
old are
backlog.
you?
And also,
Which makes you how old? Because I'm just trying to find out what the average age of a Twitch streamer is, and make
I'm
sure
not
that makes
gonna-
sense with what we're doing.
People are more interested in the spreadsheet. They're understanding how it works, and we couldn't really see any of the. I couldn't see anything on the spreadsheet, so we'll have to do that again at some point in the future. But there are a lot. You'll see that this is just. I'm gonna go a little bit closer here. Yeah.
I'm just going to try to zoom in on that and see if I can read some of the numbers.
You can see that the old
I
fear,
understand
the
the
old
con- I
fear
understand-
games are on there. The Fear Extraction Point, Fear Perseus Mandate. Those are the expansions for the Fear games. Fear 2, I did pretty good on. Now I remember this, Alan. I remember very clearly. I was sitting in my apartment in Baltimore, Maryland, and it was a cold winter morning, and the entire Fear series was on sale for I think it was $8.99.
Got it.
So I went ahead and I purchased it, and I finally got around to playing it. I think that if you could see, I think I've.
Is and just sound off in the chat if everyone does this, because I don't do this. This what you're talking about, this sort of.
So let's go on.
remastering.
Let's take a couple phone calls right now and see how people are feeling about the spreadsheet here on EGI _2 Twitch TV.
Hi,
Hi,
can you hear
how
me?
are you this evening? Hi, how are you
I'm
this
all
evening?
right. Okay. Hi, I'm doing all right. I'm loving EGI 2 so far.
So
Just asking about.
who are you? Where are you calling from? And how
Uh,
are
I-
you feeling?
I'm Rebecca. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and buddy,
Love
I'm
Phoenix.
feeling fine. I'm feeling beautiful.
Phoenix, great town, Phoenix. Some of the best breakfast food I've ever had is in Phoenix.
Yup.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He gets it.
And it's hot there and it's dry.
Yeah, but it's okay. I can tolerate it now.
That's good.
Uh,
So how are you
I-
feeling? We're building the show from the ground up. We took a chance on showing the spreadsheet a little early, and unfortunately all the text was a little too small for Alan and I to really tell you what we're looking at here. But did you get anything
No,
from it?
this is inspiring me to make my own spreadsheet because I have
gotta
the
do
same
it.
problem. Because I
that's
have
great.
like, let me check my Steam. I have like almost 1,000 games on my Steam. I
Holy crow!
hoard a
1,000
lot.
games. I think that might be the most games I've ever heard of on a Steam library.
Yeah, it's
I-
mostly because I play a lot of small indie games. They're like $10 to $15. So like, oh, it's just $10 to $15. But that
Yeah,
like
but the
that
thing that those
builds.
small indie, those you spend $10 to $15 on a small indie game like Abzu or Limbo or that's not really
Yeah.
an indie game anymore, but you know what I mean. And the money adds up. But do the hours match the money? Is what are we seeing that one-to-one? Are we seeing that one-to-one build?
I mean, sometimes it does. Binding of Isaac and Terraria, like, I have hundreds of hours in both of those. Vampire Survivors, that's another one that is very cheap, but I got a lot of hours on. But, like, I'm sure, like, hundreds of these I've never even tried,
It's crazy how much time we spend doing the things that we love, and how much money, and how the money doesn't really match up to what we end up liking.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I was trying to say earlier with the Super Mario Wonder is that I spent $45 on that because I got a sale on eShop credit for 10% off. So that was $45 for $50 worth of eShop credit, and then I bought 2 Switch vouchers, eShop vouchers that you get with your Nintendo Switch Online subscription, and then I used that to buy Breath of the Wild 2 and Super Mario Wonder, which I ended up both getting for $45 each.
And an average modern game is how much?
$60, $70.
So you saved. You stand
Well,
to save.
I saved $15 on Super Mario Wonder, and I saved $25 on Breath of the Wild 2.
So good. So that's pretty good, and I am impressed by that.
And here's the thing: I know that I'm not going to get 45 hours out of Super Mario Wonder. I think it would be difficult, even for me. I do like to complete those games and find all the coins and seeds and sunshines and all those, the baubles.
Baubles.
Would you call them baubles?
I don't know what I don't know what we're talking about. So I have no word for
baubles.
I think baubles were. I haven't played Super Mario Wonder. I just call them collectibles.
Well, there's some baubles that are called seeds in that game. And
Yeah.
so the hope is that
Baubles.
while
People in the chat are saying
I
baubles.
maybe spend 15 to 20 hours
Baubles
on
make
Super Mario
sense.
Wonder, making that $2 or more per gameplay hour for Super Mario Wonder,
Bauble,
and I make up
bauble,
that time
bauble.
by playing Breath of the Wild 2, which I got for $45, which is a fantastic and strategic set of deals. And
I think the weird. Oh, continue.
no, you go ahead.
I think the weird thing for me is like I feel like the more I pay full price for the game, like I feel like I play the games I pay full price, like AAA games, less than I do games that I buy on sale.
Right.
Like I bought Deus Ex for like $5, and I've replayed that game hundreds of times at this point, but I still haven't finished Breath of the Wild 2.
And
I've only
this is
gotten
a
a few hours
fantastic
in.
because I like I was just saying earlier, and I was saying this. You remember this, Alan? I stopped playing Super Mario Wonder just today, so I could go back and I could play Assassin's Creed Rogue on the Nintendo Switch.
Is it good?
No, it's a janky mess of a game. It's completely its introduction sequence is completely needless and takes too long. But I find myself going back to it. I don't know what that is about me. It's like.
And you know what? Here's what I'm thinking. I mentioned that earlier. They should make a remastered version of the first Deus Ex game. They should make a remastered version, and that was also in that peak. That was in that like that was in that 2000 to like 2011 era. Like that's a great game. That needs to get a remaster, is what I'm saying. Because I mean, come on, it's Deus Ex.
Come on, it's Deus Ex. Exactly what I've been saying, and I do believe, and I absolutely 100% believe in what Rebecca is saying, that Deus Ex should be brought back into the modern age. Maybe now that we're seeing these Unreal Engine 5 games coming out.
Yeah.
That I like.
So we could come back with Unreal
yeah.
Engine 5, and we could bring Deus Ex into 2023, 2024.
Have you seen the video where it's like Mario running in like the most realistic field of all time? Like
No.
it's awesome.
I would love to see
Yeah,
it.
they put Mario in an Unreal Engine and it looks beautiful. I'm thinking Nintendo hire this man.
So let me. We've got to move on, Rebecca. But I will say one thing: if you guys are interested, everybody out there in electronic gaming, EGI 2 land is interested, go ahead and find Pripyat Beast from Night Dive Studio. He's on Twitter. I believe he's also on Instagram. He's the person in charge of bringing all those wonderful games like Power Slave and Shadow Man and Dark Forces and Turok 3 back with a slight. It's not a full remastering. It's more of he sort of takes a lot of the assets and puts them through this different engine. I think it's called the Kex engine.
Yeah, shout out to Night Dive. Yeah.
That's Night Dive Studios. Rebecca, thank you for your call. We do have to move on. We do need to take a quick break here and show off some of our EGI 2 exclusive uninterrupted Pariah footage.
Of course, yeah. Pariah 2, Night Dive, get on that. Come on, it's Pariah.
It's Pariah.
All right, see ya.
There's vehicle sections. Scrape my ankle on the ladder.
Hey, Robby, if you're going to do this again, can we get a chair for the guest? And I guess, but maybe you should have a chair because you're sitting on a ladder.
We're not necessarily going to have guests right away, but we will be having you as a full-time employee. And I need you, Alan. I need you erect and alert at all times because you're our man in the field. You're the guy that's going to be bringing us the news from outside the studio into the studio.
You want me to go outside?
I'm going to need you outside.
This is okay. So outside of this room and into where you're a field.
No, you're kind of like War Mastering in here right now.
Got it.
And so I'm gonna so no chairs. We'll have a desk eventually. We'll have something besides two ladders. You can't see. I don't know if you can see this here. This is a step ladder here.
And a chair for the employee.
For my desk. And we have all of the. It used to be that I had a long desk, and I could put objects in different piles, and I could say, okay, it's this section of the show, so I'm going to pick up this. And I didn't usually do that. But the fact of the matter was the desk was big, and it was not 2 ladders.
There's a poll going on right now in the chat. It's for Super Mario Wonder versus Assassin's Creed Rogue.
Yes, exactly.
70% Mario Wonder, which is a big popular game, Mario franchise. We've all heard of it. And Assassin's Creed Rogue, which is a smaller.
It's a huge game, Alan. It's expansive.
I know people love these Assassin's Creed games.
All the way to St. Lawrence Bay.
But it is losing by a lot.
Okay, so
the numbers are changing now because
the fact of the matter is that these are the kinds of games Assassin's Creed Rogue is not. I'm not going to say it's a tight game. It's not a great game. It's not going to go down as one of the. It's not going to. People aren't going to remember it in 20 years, but. It does have something, and I don't know how to quite describe it.
I can't get the poll to go away.
So, Alan, we do have breaking news here on EGI_2 Twitch.com, which is this is breaking news, folks. We do have a brand new segment, and this is a segment that we've never tried before on the old show, on the new show. This is the stream 1 of EGI2, and this is going to be a segment that I like to call "Let's Just Zone Out for a while callers review games for us."
Say that again.
Let's just zone out for a while callers review games for us.
So the name of the segment, I just want to be clear.
The name of the segment is Let's Just
Zone Out for a while callers review games for us. And we don't have to talk.
So we don't have to talk, we can just relax. I mean, we want to make sure, one of the big differences that we have with Twitch is that we have the ability to spend a little bit more time with self-care, with making sure that you and I are taken care of, and we're taking care of each other, and we're taking care of ourselves.
Now this I like.
And so we'll just kind of zone out for a while callers review games for us. We're going to try this. This has never been tried before.
So this is history in the making. This is like being in the garage.
This is breaking news, Alan. No one else is doing it. I guarantee you, if you typed in "Let's just zone out for a while callers review games for us," no one would ever hit the full sentence or the acronym. You would find
nothing.
No other show on Twitch is doing this now.
You'd get 0 results. So this is like I'm witness to history. I'm in the garage when Steve Jobs put 2 hammers together and made the first iPhone. Correct?
Exactly.
Okay, great. I'm ready.
Let's just zone, Alan.
I don't have anywhere to sit. There's no chair. I'm gonna just do the.
You can stand. Just do it. Maybe some kind of a mountain pose. So let's just find a place where we can kind of just zone out for a while. Just you and I just. Take a few deep breaths while callers review games for us.
And is a caller doing that now? Because I don't hear it.
I don't hear a caller. Are you on the air with the EGI too?
Hey guys, it's Nathan Vegetable. I'm here.
Hey Nathan, nice.
Friend of the show.
Nice
Friend of the show. Good to hear your voice.
Great to hear your voice.
Oh, but I'm not going to talk. We're going to review a game.
Nathan, we would really appreciate it if you just could review some games for us while we kind of just zone out for a bit.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm a little sick right now, but you guys are making me feel a lot better, so my voice ain't great.
I'm sad to hear it. I'm sad for you. But the fact of the matter is that for the segment to work, we do need you to review some games for us.
All right, great. I'm going to review Tower Unite. This is a game you can buy on Steam. This game is, you can play a bunch of different games in it. It's a first-person there's a bunch of games right now. You can bowl with your friends. You can golf with your friends. You can do like a casino in there. There's like a Super Monkey Ball game.
Wait. There's a Super Monkey Ball game in there?
Robbie, they review the game for us.
Is it like the
right,
Super
it's
Monkey
kind of
Ball?
like
Is it
VR
like it's like a
chat.
tilt maze?
Robbie, I think you're supposed to zone
Nathan,
out.
is it like a tilt maze?
It's like VR chat, so you can walk around to these different activities that are in the game, and you could do them with your friends.
All right, now I'm
And
relaxed.
you can
Thank you, Nathan.
there's Steam Workshop integrations. You can be like any character you want to be. Everybody put, you can be Super Mario as a character. You can be Bowser, or I'm thinking Mario characters for some reason. I can't think of anything else, but there's like everything on there. Anime characters, right? If you're into anime, you could be that. SpongeBob. Anyways, so you have a condo where you have your own house, and you can design that house. People can come to your house and do things together. You spend time with your friends. Anyway, I think this game's a great game. It's like $20 bucks, and there's no microtransactions. They don't try to nickel and dime you on anything. They keep updating it year after year. It's been out for years, and I really recommend you try it out.
Nathan, that was I got to admit, I have not been able to focus on anything that you're saying because I keep picturing those Super Monkey Ball tilt mazes. But I want to thank you so much for your call and for helping Alan and I relax for this very crucial moment of self-care and reflection on EGI 2 for Twitch.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is a completely different show from Electronic Game Information, but
this is a
I
completely
think this
different
is
show. We
much.
weren't allowed to do the old show, so we're making something new, and you are part of a new beginning.
Yeah, I'm love to be here. I really want to say really quick, I'm not sure if I can live another year without Night Dive Studios releasing System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition. I really need them to get that out as soon as possible.
Isn't it already out?
No, they released the remake for System Shock 1, and they are working on the System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition, but they didn't. It is not out. There's no release date. I'm dying here.
So this is like a full revamping of the whole System Shock 2.
No,
game?
System Shock 2. They're gonna just re-release the old game, but fix all the bugs, and particularly the multiplayer had a ton of bugs in the old one, so I can't play it with my wife because it keeps crashing. And the new one that we're going to release is supposed to fix all those issues, but I don't know. It's been such a long time, and they announced it forever ago. When's it going to come out, Night Dive?
Well, we've been tagging, of course, Stephen Kick, Pripyat Beast at Night Dive Studios throughout the evening. So hopefully he gets the message and gets his business in gear, because I know they just sold off to Atari. So who knows what the state of these certain things is. But Nathan, we're not relaxed right now. I'm feeling tense again. So we're gonna let you go.
Let's
and we're
back
gonna
to
go
relaxing.
to our next caller, who's going to
Have a
review
great
another
time.
video game for us. Alan, how are you feeling?
I was feeling relaxed, and then when you started talking to the caller, I immediately tensed up.
Start talking. I mean, you heard Nathan just bring up System Shock 2,
Right.
and we can't. We're talking about the whole thing, Alan.
Got it. And so let's have
get
another caller review the game for us.
Let's try to
keep
recenter, find our center selves again, and caller, take it away.
Oh my gosh, is that me?
Yes.
Ah, that's crazy. Okay, hot take. I'm so mad at these Resident Evil remakes.
Wait, which one?
Well, specifically like 2 and 3. 4 is okay. I could live with that. I love my man Leon. But
I'm
boy,
not relaxed anymore. But I have to address this because I have to disagree with you 100%. Not that your opinion is not valid, and not that you don't completely that you're justified in your opinion in your own house. But the fact of the matter is that for me, Resident Evil 4 is only a 480i resolution game.
Please let them review it for us.
Well, she's not reviewing.
I know.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Shar. I'm from California.
Shar from California. So what I'm hearing from you is that Resident Evil 2 and 3 are bad remasters, but Resident Evil 4 is good remaster.
I mean, I can we call that a remaster? I feel like it's a remark.
Remarker? Wait.
Yes. Well, it's not a remaster, is it?
No, well, it could be a remaster. I mean, the fact of the matter, well, if you have the right people working on it, anything can be. But if we're going to speak of Resident Evil, what's the thing that they say at the beginning of every Resident Evil game?
Resident Evil?
No, well, they say Resident Evil after they said it. There's usually a text thing that says, "Well, is it welcome to the world of survival horror?"
Oh, I think you're right on Welcome to the World of Survivor Horror. Yeah.
So, in fact, it's a re-welcoming.
Can I look at my phone while I zone out?
You know what? I'll give you that.
So let's go ahead and review some games while Alan and I spend some time relaxing and letting the callers, the viewers, review the games for us.
They want me to hydrate in the chat.
Gotta hydrate or dehydrate. Okay.
Any game.
Okay, any game. Have you played AI the Somnium Files 2?
No.
You should play that. I give it like an actual 9, like a 9 specifically. I have 2 issues with that game.
I think I can picture the thumbnail on the Switch eShop now. It's on the Switch eShop, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And it is letting some tension out. I will say I like the layout of those pages.
Please
Yeah.
review.
No,
please
I
just review
understand
the
that.
game.
Sorry, Alan's not relaxed. So we
I'm
gotta
not
review
relaxed.
the
I'm
game.
tense.
Okay, imagine you're in and like the futuristic society, and you keep seeing the number 9 everywhere the whole entire game, and then you're gonna give this game a 10 out of 10, and then you have 2 issues with it, so you dock off a half point for each issue.
What are the issues?
The issues, I will say, there are weird musical numbers in this game that do not have actual singers that sing them, and it is an issue sometimes. But they're nice. They take you out of it for a few minutes. It's nice. It's nice enough. And the second is that like every puzzle is the answer 9.
Wait a minute. Is this part of the 999 game that was released on the Nintendo DS?
Yes. No, not for the DS.
I have a feeling I knew. I had a feeling I recognized some of the name of that thing.
999.
Yeah, 999. There's 4. Was 5 9s? 3 9s.
Well, that's. I think you're thinking of Shibuya 999. There's a lot of 9s going on here.
Right. Yeah.
9's popular number.
These are wonderful. Of course, storybook games. They're kind of point and click, not quite in the old LucasArts style, but more of like a visual novel.
Yes. Yeah. They are like that.
I mean, that's a type of a game, isn't it, Alan?
Yeah, it's like dating Sims without the dating.
Exactly.
I'm relaxed.
Well, what would you rate the number 9? What would you rate the number 9?
The number 9 of the 9. Wait, the 999?
Yeah, no, like just in general, like the number 9 itself. It's not a game. It's the number 9. What would you rate it out of 10?
Now that. Out of 10?
Number 9 out of 10, I'd probably give it 4.
Really?
Yeah, and Robbie, what would you rate it?
I'm 9 for 9.
Okay, great.
I like the shape of that thing. Thank you for your call so much. You've given us so much to think about. I feel quite relaxed, but we do have to move on because we do have more breaking news, Alan.
Totally. I hope you guys feel really relaxed right now. Enjoy the number.
Thank you.
Breaking news. Thank you so much. We are relaxed. This because we do have breaking news.
I'm gonna get up.
I really want to see. Alan. You got to come back to life.
I'm up.
We're relaxed. We're full. We got the energy back. We've recentered ourselves. This is breaking news, folks. It's also a brand new segment.
Look at this.
It's a brand new segment. It's something that's never been tried before.
A new segment
and
alert.
we are, and I can feel the energy flowing back into my body, Alan. I hope you can feel the energy too. But we got to do it. This is, of course, a new segment called "What Does the FAQ Man Say?"
What does the FAQ man say? I've never heard of this segment.
What does the FAQ Man say?
What is this segment?
So this is a brand new segment that's never been tried before on EGI2 on Twitch, and it's a segment where we look back at old FAQs from GameFAQs.com, and we want to see if we can get a poll going somewhere in the chat. We want to make sure that
Let's get a level 2 poll going.
This is a big shot in the dark. We want to be going through the whole FAQ for, of course, the wonderful classic 2D fighting game on the PlayStation 1, X-Men Mutant Academy 2.
What the FAQ man said.
X-Men Mutant Academy 2 is an FAQ fact alert. This is FAQ man, and it is, of course, it's a 2D fighting game.
Okay.
Now, how are you feeling right now? We're entering uncharted territory here. I can feel the energy is pulsing through the room, and you and I are on this together.
I felt quite relaxed, and now I feel very stressed out. I don't understand the segment on what the FAQ man said.
So we'll be reviewing as much of the FAQ as we possibly can. And ladies and gentlemen, if I get this is the FAQ. This is a FAQ from the year 2002 that goes through all of the information.
I printed it out,
I printed it out, but then what happened was I got it mixed up with the show outline along with all the other stuff.
Right.
But we do have. So let's just go ahead
Let me
and start with just some random page.
Are you going to read a whole Wikipedia article?
We're gonna make through as far as I can, but we will need the audience's help for this one to help us understand what we're looking at, to give
I
us
can
some
look it up
rolling
on-
commentary.
Okay, great.
For X-Men Mutant Academy 2. I feel that everybody's getting repositioned in the room right now. So let's go ahead, open up the phone lines, and let's go through the FAQ line by line. Now, an FAQ is, of course, is an unofficial guide in many cases, Alan.
An FAQ is an unofficial guide.
Especially when it comes to GameFAQs.com. And when we're
Yeah,
talking
you
about
need- yeah.
X-Men Mutant, can we see the screenshot for X-Men Mutant Academy 2? I just want to take a look at that again, because that is a model, as a PlayStation 1 model of there's no question who it is.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
It's Sabretooth.
Yeah, it goes without saying.
And that was people were still learning the system back then. People were still learning what it was capable of, and where we were gonna go. So everything starts from something. Life starts from circles, and it goes and becomes gas, right?
I think the aesthetics of the PlayStation.
So, caller, are you excited to go through the FAQ?
I'm really excited. Yeah, I wanna know all the questions.
So what specific? Because there's actually quite a lot of information in FAQ, and I was printing it out, and I thought, this is going to be a condensed sort of this is going to be something concise. And in fact, it is quite long.
You dropped a piece.
So, caller, where are you calling from, and who are we talking to?
This is Joe. I'm calling from the United Kingdom. I'm a
Joe,
long-time
from the
watcher.
United
First
Kingdom.
time.
What time is it over there on your side of the planet there?
I can confirm it is currently 5:30 in the morning. I'm
5:30.
very sleepy.
And Joe's getting up early in the morning. He's come to join us here on EGI 2 on Twitch TV, and he's also gonna go somewhere else later in the day.
I might. I can't confirm that.
So, Joe, what have you been playing? Because I'm a little I didn't work out how I was hoping.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Are you sure you want to talk about my stuff? Because we can go back to the FAQ
Well,
thing
I'm trying to
if
find
you
the
want.
first page of the FAQ, but the problem is that when I copied the text from the FAQ on GameFAQs.com for X-Men Mutant Academy 2, I rather didn't have an export option, so I just copied all of the text and I put it into a Google Doc.
Oh.
And then I resized the text, and then I took out all the page numbers.
Why did you do that? Why are we talking? Why are you doing this?
Well, this is a brand new segment that we're doing for the first time.
And you're just reading an FAQ for X-Men Mutant Academy.
Yeah, this is all the characters, all their special moves. It's a fighting game, of course, so it's all their special moves. And then I know that there was a key.
And what about it?
Well, the problem is that there was a key, Alan. And so there's I don't know if you can see this here, but there was a key. Joe, tell me if you can see this, if people in the chat can see it. But there's a lot of just shortened. There's a lot of like FTH or WP plus WK.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm guessing that's some sort of like a directional input or a.
I'm not sure. Are they like the special moves?
So
of
these
the
are probably
characters?
the special moves, or these are how you have your special moves and you have your regular moves, and then occasionally they'll have some sort of like a mid-range move, like the sweep attack in Mortal Kombat 2. Coming to you live from EGI 2.
Cheryl is asking when I'm going to be at the bar. I'm just wondering when you think we're going to get out of here.
So we're running until 10 p.m. This is 2 hour.
She's with
TH or WP plus WK.
How long is a Twitch stream?
And that's a pile driver, Alan. That's a pile driver. That is a pile driver for Sabretooth, which we do have. If we see the picture of Sabretooth again.
There.
Let's just take a look at that, because then maybe let's just.
So if you can picture Sabretooth with and there's different costumes for the characters, Alan. And that's what this is. This is breaking news that we're seeing all these different costumes. Not seeing the different costumes because we weren't able to get all the screen grabs because the FAQs were supposed to kind of fill it out.
Robby,
so we don't have the screenshots. We just have the one screenshot, and then we have the title for the segment.
Robby, was Sabretooth in the movie? Because I don't remember Sabretooth looking like that.
Sabretooth was in which movie?
One of the X-Men movies. Any of the X-Men movies. I've seen all the X-Men
He was
movies.
in the first. He was in the first
in the
X-Men
first
movie,
one?
and then he was in a different. He
And
was
put
in
that screenshot back
First
up.
Class. No, he wasn't in that one.
Because we had him.
Right. I'm
And
going
now
to just
I-
double check something.
Okay, so we do
Sabretooth
have
is a
Sabretooth.
cat.
We do
Joe.
have the Sabretooth. Joe, we do have the Sabretooth page here live on EGI2 Twitch TV. Sabretooth is 6'6". He is 275 pounds. His eye colors are amber, and his hair color is blonde. Sabretooth can regenerate damaged or destroyed cells at an accelerated rate, and his healing factor renders him virtually immune to poisons and most drugs.
Got it.
Not all drugs. Importantly, Sabretooth's superhumanly acute senses are comparable to those of certain animals. He can track a person or object by smell in a manner similar to that of a dog or wolf, or I suppose also a saber wolf tooth.
Just showing this so people
Also, his
can have a
claws and
reference to
teeth
the
are
game
strong enough
graphics versus
to
the
rend
movie.
substances as durable as his teeth. So, Joe, we're talking about Sabretooth,
So that
the
people can just
Sabretooth
have a
page
reference.
of the X-Men Mutant Academy 2 FAQ. And
Yeah.
how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think he looks just like he does in the movie. Honestly, I think that was a really good interpretation of the character. It's very faithful.
I want to get if I can get your. We do have some special moves listed here at the bottom, and we only have 2, and so I suspect there were more special moves on a different page. But whenever I open up a different page, it's a different character, and I do want to focus on Sabretooth since that is who we have. We have the image of that. Dusty Scratch, B, which I'm guessing is the letter B.
B.
Yeah.
is
Or
the letter-
back.
B. B. Are you telling what letters stand for?
Yes. In the context of a fighting game like X-Men Mutant Academy, which was just on PlayStation, which doesn't have B buttons. So
I
we're
don't-
going to
Robbie,
assume that B means back.
Let me just
Joe.
take a look. Maybe the letters don't mean.
I would assume.
And then F, which is forward, and then any kick. And that's how you do the Dusty Scratch. So if you want to, if your folks at home just want to write down B, comma, F, which I'm guessing means you go back forward, and then when you hit forward, you also hit any kick button, and you'll get your Dusty Scratch.
And this is the
Okay,
character. from the
I'll
film.
definitely use that.
All right. Thank you for your
Thank you
call,
for your call, Joe.
Thank you for
And-
getting up early and staying with us. I hope you have a lovely
this is a-
commute to work.
No
You
worries.
take it-
Can I?
Are you
Thank you very much.
Are you a train commuter?
No, I'm not. I drive. Could I ask one quick question of you guys? If what would your special moves be if you had
Oh.
a special move?
If I was a special move? Oh boy, that's a great question. Alan, I know that you've had this on the tip of your tongue for some time, so why don't you go ahead and take that?
My special move would be just first I'd put my arm around the woman like this, and then slowly move down to the sort of soft corner of the hip, and then I would maybe just turn to them and say something very sweet and earnest about what a wonderful time I've had, and I would offer to pour them a glass, and then I'd pour myself a glass, and I would pretend to drop the glass, and then we'd have to leave.
Okay, so that sounds like a gambit move.
Oh, that's really great.
Gambit.
Can I borrow that?
All right.
Absolutely.
So I
Thank
would
you.
say this is me, and I don't know which character this is, Joe, but I'm so happy that you're this is really kind of helping us to build this segment out in case we need to ever do it again. I think that mine is Hand Plant Hell.
Oh wow.
Hand plant hill.
Hand Plant Hell, and that's you go down. It's the letter D.
You do down with your hands
Down.
or with your back?
And
Or like
you go
what do you
down
do?
and forward. So
Okay.
that's a roll, like
Oh,
your
you're
fireball.
you're doing a
your
roll.
classic fireball, and then you kick.
And who
So you
are
like
kicking?
roll?
I
You
don't
roll
know who
into
you're
a
kicking.
kick?
I don't know whose character does that, but that's the one that really stood out to me as I was going through this amazing FAQ for this incredibly unique new segment that we will 100% do.
I really hope you do
times
the
in the
segment
course of
again.
EGI.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Stay safe out there.
Good morning.
There's
You too, guys.
A lot of
I'm so
there's
glad
a lot
you're
of
back.
goblins in those bogs.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Beware the goblins.
All right, thank you for your call,
Thank you,
Joe.
Joe.
Now let's take a quick break. We do have
Goodbye.
we do have one more video break. We do have a little bit more pariah footage to be showing you guys while Alan and I just drink a little bit of water and have a bit of a chat.
Yes, let's see.
I thought I'd lost you. is the drainage room. It's chock full of those creatures, but there's no other way. Man, I hope I never get you angry. Oh, right, the security door. Hold on, I'll open it up. There we go. I'm real worried about this next stretch. None of the cameras work, so I can't see if anything's in there. Be careful, okay?
So one of the things that we, of course, lost when we lost our electronic game information on AdultSwim.com was one of the greatest tragedies of the whole experience, which was that we did, in fact, lose the list. And I don't mean to say that Adult Swim owns those words in that sequence and owns that phrasing of a list.
No one owns.
You can say the list. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's just a word. It's just a word.
It's
Nobody
just
owns.
words. It's just two
nobody
words
owns
together.
That.
But we did lose it, and we don't know where it is. But we do have something that I wanted to try here for stream 1 of EGI 2, which is that we want to try and see if we can somehow reach out into the digital ether and to bring the list back. Alan.
I would love to. I do remember the list. I'd love to have the list back.
And
I don't know how you're going to do that, but if you could do that, it would bring a nice warm feeling to my heart and maybe make me just feel a little bit happier just to have the list back.
I racked my brain, Alan, and I said, what could bring the list back? What could possibly, if I spent all my brain energy on thinking about it, I came up with one thing, and that is a list of every single Sega Saturn game that ever existed.
I'd love to hear that list.
So let's, if we can maybe queue up the music for the list. We're taking a big risk here because we don't own the music for the list anymore. It's the one thing that we don't. No one owns the list.
No, it's just a word. Anyone can make a list. I've made lists.
Words.
There's to-do lists. There's all kinds of lists. There's lists of different senators you could email and things of that nature. And lists of people you don't like, you write them down. This is just a thing. So there's no legal liability here to worry about. It's just a list.
But let's go ahead and get started. Let's open up the phone lines. Let's get the music playing, and let's begin right now because we are going to be doing.
It is playing.
We're going to be doing. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be doing every single Sega Saturn game that they're
Okay, great.
And not necessarily alphabetical order, but order is as far far as I can scroll through every single game.
Oh, this is just a list.
On a different list. On that I have in front of me while we talk about it. So we go ahead and we'll start with Albert Odyssey. Of course, Albert Odyssey is on the list for all the Sega Saturn games, every Sega Saturn game that ever made. Albert Odyssey is, of course, Albert Odyssey is, of course, an action adventure game that stars Albert as he goes on his Odyssey, and it's on the list. We also have his Stall.
It's
His
not
Stall
working.
is on the list. It's a platformer with it's a 2D platformer with jumping elements. It's a beautiful game. It's a hand-drawn game, and it's on the list, Alan.
It doesn't work. The list isn't working, Robbie.
The list isn't working.
No, I don't see any of the lists showing up on screen. If people haven't ever watched, if people remember EGI 1, there was this list that you could see.
Back to you, Alan.
Back to you, Robbie.
Amok is on the list.
And
it goes by lots of names, goes by Amok, but is a kind of a
no list.
Kind of a shoot 'em up, race 'em up kind of a game that uses Sega
Hold
Saturn.
hold the microphone up to your mouth.
That
where
uses Sega Saturn
people can't
era
hear what you're
graphics,
saying. This
and
is
we've got
no
to
list.
hold the microphone up because
This is not the list.
This is you do not have to hold a microphone
Bug.
and hold all of the games that are on.
Bug 1995. It's on the list.
Bug's on the list, and Bug 2 is on the list. And of course, you classic Bug fans in the chat here will remember that Bug was one of those games that did not play by the rules, Alan.
And it's not on the list because
It's
there's
not on
no
the list because
no list yet.
No, it's on the list.
But I know, but I don't see it on the list because I don't see anything coming up on the list.
It came on Sega Saturn, and the more that we try, the more that perhaps the list can hear us, Alan.
Quick question: where is the list? And
Sonic 3D Blast is on the list. Sonic 3D Blast is on the list. This is coming from the chat. We are getting some help from the chat, so I'm going to go ahead.
So do we
and
take calls for the list?
Put down
or?
my Sonic 3D Blast is on the list. It also came out on the Sega Genesis. What when you port a Sega Genesis game to the Sega Saturn, what do you get, Alan? What do you get? You get a game that refuses to play by the rules, right?
Right.
Earthworm Jim, also a Sega Genesis game. Earthworm Jim 2 also came out on the Sega Saturn with a fully orchestral recorded soundtrack.
I have a list of the games.
And so if it's on the list, if it's a list of the games, it's on the list. I'm not saying we don't. So are we getting calls coming in from the list?
And hold the microphone.
Are we getting calls
to your
coming?
Mouth
If we're getting calls, if I'm not putting the microphone up to my mouth, then you've put the microphone in my mouth.
I didn't touch you.
Because I'm trying to reach the list.
And I brought my own lavalier mic, so I didn't need to do this.
So I used to have a lavalier mic, and it was one of the many elements that was stolen from us when we lost electronic game information.
I don't think we owned that.
So was Baldi's? Is Baldi's on the list? Alan, is Baldi's on the list? I'm pretty sure that Baldi's is one of those Amiga games.
Maybe.
Is it? We have a caller on the line right now.
Hold on. Hello.
Caller, what's on the list?
Hello.
This is the list of all the Sega Saturn games, and we got to get it right because if we can get as many as we can from the list to the list, then we can bring the list back.
Oh no! I was not prepared for this. Sega Saturn.
What?
Wait, hold on.
Sonic Jam is on the list. Sonic Jam. We're getting lists
Sonic
from the
3D
chat.
Blast.
So if you could at least give your fondest memories of Sonic Jam right now here on EGI2, Twitch, and EGI2 has Sonic Jam going for it right now here live on Twitch TV.
Ben O'Brien says Robby is old as
Sonic
hell.
Jam, of course, was a compilation of all the Sonic games that came out on the Sega Genesis, and it was kind of gelled together by a beautiful 3D environment that Sonic could explore. A low Sonic Sega Saturn Sonic.
I don't like when you come into my shot.
Explorations. So he could run through different areas of this kind of small 3D world, collect coins, and watch movies. Alan.
Okay, right. World Series baseball. I'm reading the chat.
Thank you for your call. Let's take another call. We still have not heard from the list.
I don't see the list.
I see something that is not really.
Yeah, I think I saw the list.
I saw something. Virtua Fighter is on the list. Virtua Fighter Remix is on the mix. It's on the list. It's a list. Virtua Fighter's on the list, Alan.
Turok 2, Seed of Evil.
Turok 2 is not on the list. Turok 2 is, of course, an N64 game, which is now out again on various consoles. It was also out on the PC at the time. It's back on the PC, but it's also back on current and previous generation consoles. I say previous because it's not when you say Xbox One or PlayStation 4, it's not the same thing.
Right. Mad Violence 1 says Altered Beast.
Altered Beast is
on the list.
Altered Beast might be on the list, and if you can do me, if people in the chat can do me a quick favor. I would like to see if there was a compilation of Sega Genesis games on the Sega Saturn that included Altered Beast.
Is that the list?
Is that the list?
I don't know. It's not sure.
So Daytona USA is on the list. Thank you, chat. Who's that? Gamer Quoters, Panzer Dragoon Saga is of course on the list. Those are two wonderful games that Adult Swim doesn't know. What someone said, Adult Swim isn't brave enough for this kind of camera work, and I have to agree.
You can
but
see the
this
chat?
is not just camera work. This is kind of like a ritualistic kind of thing, and we don't know if we can get the list back, and we're not hearing from the list, but we have to keep going through the list to get the list and have the list.
Right.
So Alan, well, give us your quick thoughts on on Bomberman for the Sega Saturn.
Bomberman does not play by the rules. Someone in the chat says.
Bomberman did not play the rules because it used the NetLink adapter for the Sega Saturn, Alan.
Okay, and
so that was a way to play up to 16. I think it was 16 people. Can you imagine? Just playing with 16 people on a dial-up modem right there on your Sega Saturn? You could also be using your Sega. You could use it to play, I believe, Duke Nukem 3D, and there was plans to bring the Quake version, the Saturn version of Quake, to the NetLink, but it did not work out, which was I think a travesty. Although if you want to, if you want to talk about remastering, you got to really think about remastering Quake for the Sega Saturn.
Absolutely.
That caller, do we have callers waiting for us on the list that reacting straight to the list?
Viewers of EGI 2, this is not how on EGI 1 he did the list, and it was very different.
It was different.
It worked. There was an actual list. You could see it. So this is very feels.
Camera is that?
I don't know. That was the camera that was in here.
So the camera. If I could speak to this camera, maybe we could get more callers to get in on the list. So let's look at the chat. We're going to say Street Fighter the movie is on the list. Of course, Street Fighter the movie. There was two different, believe it or not, Alan, there's actually two or three different versions of Street Fighter the movie, and only one of them is on the list, and that's of course the Sega Saturn version of Street Fighter 2 the movie. Caller, you're on the list. You're on the EGI. There's no list.
Hey. What's up, guys? I love the list. The list is going great.
The list is going great. We've got at least, I want to say 10 or 20 of maybe 800 Sega Saturn games listed already.
Yeah, perfect. I'm loving it.
Shaq Fu is not on the list. We're seeing some caller. Are you seeing the chat as well?
I'm looking at the chat right now. I'm not too familiar with what game console you're on.
We're talking about the Sega Saturn, which of course was the first CD-based second CD-based Sega console that came out. That was supposed to be the bridge to the next generation. It fell flat, but it left a lot of great gems along the way.
Guardian Heroes. What
Shaq Fu
about
is not on the list.
Heroes? Is that on the list? Not on the list.
So, caller, if your Guardian Heroes is definitely on the list, Alan. And I'm going to come at you with this one, Alan, because Guardian Heroes is one of those games that absolutely did not play by the rules, Alan. Yeah. And to say one thing about Guardian Heroes, you got to say it was crazy as hell. It made a lot of impacts, and they did make a widescreen version of it that you could probably get from Xbox Live still, unless I'm mistaken, might come with Xbox Games Gold or something like that.
Zork, Risen 2, Tempest 2000. Are these on the list?
Zork come from
that's what they're saying in the chat.
Text-based adventure, isn't it?
That's what they're saying in the chat.
What do you think about Zork, the text-based adventure?
See, that's the thing. I've never actually played it before. But if it's on Xbox,
well, if it's not, Return to Zork, I believe, did come to Xbox in some capacity. And there's probably a number. There's probably a colon and then another word. Thank you for your caller. Let's get another caller back on the list. We're trying to find that list.
There's a list in the chat.
There's a list in the chat. I'm looking at the list, but they're not the list.
I know. I don't see.
Whoa! I'm sorry about that. The stall is definitely on the list. We did a stall at the top of the show.
Calm down.
Didn't play the rules by the rules graphically. Even though I think we would probably venture to say that it did play by the rules in terms of gameplay.
I don't know. I didn't play that.
People keep saying the word Baldies, and I want to say that Baldies is in fact one of those old Euro-style games. Maybe it's something like, is it something like Lemmings?
I don't know. They're saying Baldies is on the list.
Look up Wikipedia and put it in the chat. Put Wikipedia up in the chat.
Someone's on the phone.
How are you doing tonight? Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
You're talking to AJ, calling from Georgia.
It's AJ from Georgia.
Good to hear from
you. Wonderful to hear your voice, young man.
What?
It's wonderful to hear your voice.
Great. Since we're not playing by the rules,
We're not playing.
why don't we
well,
just
we
put
are
whatever
playing,
game
well,
we
the problem is that
want?
the rules change, AJ, and I don't mean that in a good way or a bad way. And I don't, if I made a mistake, then I made a mistake. But the fact of the matter is that we have not been able to find the list.
Oh, but like,
I think I saw
can't
the
you?
list.
Wait, but you have employees though. Can't they just watch all of the old EGI archives in the library and write it down?
So the fact of the matter is, and this is going directly to you, AJ, is that we lost the list.
But we can make it again. Robby's version.
That kind of an emotional moment in Lord of the Rings when the Ents talk about how they lost the Ent wives.
Oh,
yeah. So that's kind of the way that the list worked. The list was kind of was more than substantial.
Can't we rebirth the list?
So substantial that it is insubstantial. That was the list.
Can't we rebirth the list?
I don't know.
I think Alan's power moves can like rebirth the list.
Battle Arena
He was
Toshinden
talking about some
remix
good
is
power
on the
moves
list, Alan.
earlier.
It's
He
a-
put
it's
his
a remix.
arms out and then share some love. I think that can bring the list back. Remember that?
Yes, absolutely. Who could forget such a moment?
See? There you
But
go.
we don't have a lot of time left in the show, so we're gonna have to hard cut out at some point if we don't have the list, then we don't have
Jovial
the list.
Jellyfish says
So
Baldi's in 1994 was on the Sega Saturn.
We run 4 classics of Baldi's, and each structure has specific properties to assist the player. Can we scroll to the top of the chat, Alan?
No. These 4 classic Baldi's, each structure had 4 specific properties to assist the player. The gameplay combines strategy with simulation and god
AJ, are you on? Death Crimson is definitely. I don't know if Death Crimson is on the list. I think that. Oh, no, Death Crimson is definitely on the list. I get
Am
Death
I on
Crimson
Death
mixed
Jam?
up with a
No,
game
I'm
that's
not
on
on
the
that
Sega
game,
Dreamcast,
sorry.
which is not on the list.
This feels like a really bad list.
This is a great list. This is the best list we've ever done, and it's the most important list that we've ever done. And the fact of the matter that you're slandering the list as we're doing the list while we're trying to call the
I'm
list
not slandering
is a big problem.
Robby.
And it's not going to come back.
I think I saw a little bit of the list.
How could?
I think it changed. The letters changed. It said now it says best. I think I see a little bit of the list.
Shaq
Do you think
Fu
it's
is
the
not on
ghost of the list coming
People
back?
keep putting Shaq Fu in the chat. People could keep putting Baldi's in the chat, but I cannot see for the life of me if Shaq Fu or Baldi's is on the list because the chat is scrolling so fast that people are answering my questions, but I can't actually see.
Robby, you gotta focus.
Sonic Frontiers is not
Zone
on the
in,
list.
zone in.
Chameleon Twist is not on the list. These people, if you're trying to be able to do so if you don't fully participate in the list.
He's trying to channel in the list.
This is very,
He's gonna
this is a very
remaster
aggressive
it.
list.
We gotta remaster the list.
Burning Rangers is on the list.
I can't tell.
Thanks, guys. Love y'all.
Are you gonna do more episodes of EGI 2? Because I really want to know what my schedule's gonna be like.
We might do it. We're trying to do one on Monday.
Okay.